Hey, and welcome back to the podcast. We are here with Daniel-Viduya from SupportZebra.com, and we're going to hear about the exciting, fast-paced, cutting-edge world of customer service and how we can make that work for us and our companies, for an e-commerce company, for a Saas company, and anything in between. So, Daniel, glad to be speaking with you.
Thank you for having me today, Robert. Pleasure to be here.
And it is a pleasure to have you. And so this whole thing about customer service, it seems like one of those topics that it could be fun and interesting if we have someone like you to get us excited, but left to our own devices, it can easily be something boring that we neglect, that we kind of don't treat very well in our business. So what are your thoughts about this? When you meet somebody and you say, hey, I'm Daniel, I'm all about customer service, what's the usual response? Are they excited, or is it sort of like what I was saying just now?
Well, coming from the Philippines, it's an interesting topic. It is actually exciting for us because we are the customers, but I've also been on the other side of the fence where I'm in customer service. So I've experienced both. And so it's actually an exciting thing to discuss. It's an exciting thing to have, and it's an exciting thing to embed as a passion in you because I've experienced the best of both worlds.
Well, wonderful. And we've all had the bad experiences and the good experiences, right? We've had those times when we didn't felt listened to and there were slow support times and just felt kicked around. And we had those thoughts of like, man, there's probably just a couple of things that could have been done a little better. Like, saying like, I haven't fixed the problem yet, but I've received your request. Someone just like asking a few questions. And so what are your thoughts about like what makes customer service work and what sort of things are just really important that are sometimes missing?
When you mentioned about being kicked around and, just feeling like it's a day-to-day thing, it is true. You can't blame customer service reps feeling that way because I've been there where sometimes the customers are screaming at me, the customers are just angry. And I think to myself, why me? It's like, why are you telling me this? It's not my problem. I mean, I know that you're having a bad time, but why are you getting mad at me? But then when I became a customer myself and I started being the yelling customer, I'm like, okay, now I get it. Now I understand why. And the reason why customers are that way and what we could do better as a company, as a business, is because we are not treating our customers the way they want to be treated, or sometimes the way that we make our policies and the way that we treat our business and processes is only to our favor, but not in the customer's favor sometimes. And that can suck, even if the truth is, and speaking by principle, we should be doing right by our customers sometimes.
Yeah, I agree completely that it's easy to make it about what serves you and your company and what's easier for you, and that leads to some bad habits. And so can you tell us about how you relate to this whole customer service idea? Like, what is SupportZebra and what solution do you provide?
Great. SupportZebra takes customer service in a different angle. We focus ourselves in a culture-centric and dare say family-oriented call center. Now, it sounds very typical when you hear culture-centric and other organizations. That's true, because it does exist, but we take things a little differently. Here, we see people as equal, from the chief executive officer down to a care ambassador. Everyone is accountable for doing their role. Everyone is accountable for respecting every individual. Everyone is accountable for making sure that you as a human being feel and care for your team members, and that's what SupportZebra embodies. We make sure that our care ambassadors, from the word care, is well taken care of so that they can take care of their customers. Let me ask you this, Robert. Maybe this is a great question. How many have you seen a Make-A-Wish program in any company, and not in just company, in any situation? Have you seen a Make-A-Wish program, or do you know what it is?
I've heard of that organization, but I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, just a general, like a Make-A-Wish. When you hear of the term Make-A-Wish program, say for example, Robert, you're the recipient of a Make-A-Wish program, meaning we can grant any wish you would have. What would be the typical wishes one would have, or what would you have?
I mean, you'd imagine a typical wish, like if there was like a sick kid, they would want to meet like a celebrity, like a Marvel actor or something.
Yeah, but something for yourself. Say, for example, you are the recipient of the Make-A-Wish program. What would you wish for yourself? Or what would you want to wish?
Like a free house or something.
Exactly. That's typical in any situation. in the call center in the Philippines and SupportZebra, we have our own Make-A-Wish program. So when you would see a recipient of the Make-A-Wish program, you would think, okay, I'll make a wish for myself. That's not the case. When I flew to the Philippines last year on our year-end party, I saw the series of a Make-A-Wish program and I was astounded. People did not make a wish for themselves. They were the recipient of the Make-A-Wish program, but they decided to make a wish for somebody else, for a complete total stranger to the organization, or for someone who was in need because they were racking up hospital bills. They made a wish for someone else. That's how caring and customer-centric SupportZebra is. By caring for our own people and for them caring about other people, we see that they're able to return that and create a whole new culture in treating customers over the phone. It's an authentic customer experience is what we're creating here at SupportZebra.
I like that a lot, how there's like that attitude of helping others out. And then it seems like from some of these keywords you mentioned, right? You mentioned things like care and accountability. It seems like there's just like, respect for everyone around you. And so that way you don't fall into the negativity, because it's easy enough if there's one or two negative people in your work environment, with your customers, with your coworkers, it's easy for that to rub off on you and for you to think, well, everyone else is being a downer and making little remarks. Why not me? Why do I have to be squeaky clean? But if everyone is squeaky clean or everyone is doing their best and being positive and supportive, then it's easier to just be a part of that. And so you're all about these values of giving and contributing and paying it forward and being a good person and solving problems. And so when some company or some vendor comes to you and they say, okay, you help with customer service, like, what does that mean? What's the solution? Does it mean like you go in and replace their customer service team, train them? Like how do you go and fix the problem?
I would avoid the word replace because sometimes they feel a bit of trepidation with the word replace. But we sometimes do that, admittedly, because some of them can't afford to keep it onshore. But many a times, many choose SupportZebra to be an extension of their customer service team that is not based onshore, simply offshore, but as a part of their operations team. So take, for example, Athletic Greens. They are an e-commerce company. They supplements and nutrition. They started their customer service with SupportZebra and have grown their customer service with us ever since then. They trust their customers to call us, and we treat them with the utmost professionalism. We treat them with the best care. We give them that VIP service that would make them want to stick with Athletic Greens and make them want more. And many more clients similar to Athletic Greens have gone to SupportZebra. I can't disclose because of NDA, but then it's simply that we create an authentic customer service experience for you customers, so that you get that experience that you're looking for.
And so what are the objections to someone wanting to allow your team in? Like you said a minute ago, there's like sometimes you say things like replace and you have to be careful there. But, customer service is kind of weird because sometimes people don't respect it as a vital part of their business, right? They say, oh, well, sales, I put money in and money comes back out. But with customer service, it's necessary. But sometimes people see it as like an expense with not a lot tangible coming back. And there's all these objections, right? Like only I can answer my tickets, or only my team can respond to these phone calls. And I imagine that your advice might be something like look back at your old tickets or record X number of phone calls and see the patterns and kind of create the kind of the book for someone to go through. But what are your thoughts on that when someone has all these weird excuses for not being able to scale their customer service with you? What do they say and what's the solution?
This is what I tell them all the time. They have the liberty to keep it internal if they want to. They have the liberty to keep it to one person if they want to. But any sane business owner and business person would know that you opened that business because you envision your business to grow in the future. You can't grow if you keep that internal. You cannot grow if you keep that as a single person doing all of the tickets. You cannot grow if you don't create a process and entrust somebody, some entity, some organization, some team to work with your customer service. And customer service is not simply an expense. If you read the book Ultimate Question 2.0 by Fred Reichhold, it's mentioned many times there how Blockbuster and how companies like Blockbuster and others have closed down, not because they were, not because they were simply beat by competition. No, it's because they underballed customer service. They thought that by imposing exorbitant fees and imposing exorbitant restrictions that was in their favor instead of the customers would actually benefit them. Look at Netflix, the way that they serve their customers. Look at how Charles Schwab and Apple decided to turn it into customer-centric journey. They are now in the top companies today, not because they simply wanted to grow because they wanted to. No, it's because they saw that customer service was an investment for them to actually get more customers. Customer service is your free ticket and free marketing. If you treat your customers right, they will naturally get more customers for you. You don't have to do anything. It does not cost for you to be kind. It does not cost you anything to treat people well, but it will cost you a lot if you treat them differently.
I love that, how there's that mindset shift to be had where if you neglect your customer service, there's that downside that you might not even see right away, right? You might see it as, well, I'm cutting costs or I'm being more efficient, but it's a thing that can then catch up to you. And so in your business journey here, Daniel, with you growing this company and dealing with people and fixing problems, has anything surprised you? Has anything just been really kind of interesting and unexpected for you the last few years?
Yes, there is. From that regular, I told you I was behind the desk before. I was taking phone calls myself before. What surprised me the most was how I was very indifferent to people before. How I thought that, look, they're frustrated customers. It is what it is at the end of the day. At some point, I built this wall thinking that I'm on this side of the fence, they're on that side of the fence. That's not my problem. That's their problem. I'm simply representing the brand, but that's all there is to it. But now that I've become the victim myself, one time I was offered a credit card by a very popular bank in the United States. They told me that I was qualified and I'll try to pull my credit. And now they're telling me that I was not qualified, which was okay with me, but they said that it's going to go against my record. I said, well, I was not the one who applied for it. You were the one who told me I was qualified for it and even offered it to me proactively. Why am I the one who's getting a bad, like a bad hit now? That's not my fault. You guys offered it to me. Had you known that I was not up for it to begin with, why did you do it? It's that thing. I all of a sudden realized that, wow, I'm surprised I'm now on that other side of the fence now. It's a surprise how sometimes you being on the other side of that fence, you seeing that world of consumers, it puts you in a different perspective. But when you become the victim yourself, or when you become the person who needs help, you will understand that you should know how to treat people better. And that's what really surprised me. And nowadays, with social media booming and with podcasts and word of mouth spreading like wildfire in Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and all sorts of channels, it is easier for a business to get a bad rep if you do, if you do wrong by them, rather than do right by them. So it is the change. This era right now, it's all about social media, and people will talk if you do right by them or if you do wrong by them.
And yeah, so it's important to have that empathy, it seems, so that way, instead of getting annoyed or irritated by the actions someone else is taking, you imagine what it's like in those times when you can't get an answer or you want to get attention. And so it took me way too many years to finally settle on some of these concepts, like learning about like a help desk and a CRM and being able to pull up in one location, like everything about a customer, right? And if they open up multiple tickets, or if they did multiple things on social media, like open up tickets for that and then merge it all together. That way we're not doing the work 5 times over. That way we're not checking here and looking at this system. And so you mentioned earlier about like there's specific books that you like, but if someone says, I know I need to better dial in my customer service and I need to look into what SupportZebra can do for me, but maybe they've been too focused on just the product part of their e-commerce, and they want to know more about the kind of customer service things they should know, right? About help desks and operators and CRMs. Do you have any like advice there? Do you have like either like special resources or like a series of like hard and fast rules to get better educated about customer service?
Absolutely. We have sample playbooks that we're happy to share with them that would allow them to see how they could envision their customer service. Or sometimes these problems are variable. One would have a unique concern from the other. If they simply want to know how they can structure their customer service, I'm happy to give them the evaluation. Promising not to sell anything. That's not how I do it. I consult and I learn what they need. And if they could implement that for themselves, great. If they need our help, also great. But I'm just here to simply give that advice, educate, and teach people how to establish a customer service infrastructure so that you could take something and give that back to your customers and grow your business naturally.
And you mentioned these things like having the structure, right? And what I'm picturing as far as what you're mentioning here is like sometimes we need to draw out that flow chart, right? So if someone says, well, there's like 200 different things someone could ask about, or only I could do it if people like you and I get into the systems thinking and say, well, okay, people have all these questions, but 50% of the time they have this question, right? 10% of the time it's this question. Mm-hmm. And even if there's the 0.05% of times when it's something custom, that's when maybe it routes to you or it routes to someone who can kind of catch it all. And so I think that maybe it helps to kind of get that fresh perspective, that new way of thinking, and as you said, to just sort of structure the map. And if someone said, okay, well, that sounds like a great jumping off point, I'd love to look at one of those playbooks, or I'd love to have that conversation with Daniel, like where should they go to look into this more?
They could find me on LinkedIn. My name is Daniel-Viduya, or they could also go to SupportZebra.com. When you click book a strategy session, that goes straight to my calendar. It doesn't go to any central, it goes straight to me, and I'm happy to consult with anyone. My job here is to help and educate, because I've been doing customer service since 2011. So for 12 years now, I've been in customer service, and I'm happy to offer my thoughts and my knowledge into really just building your brand and bringing it above and beyond for your customers.
And you practice what you preach, right? You say, find me on social media, message me, I'll respond. I won't be someone that takes 30 months to get back to. You say I'll be right on there. So that's Daniel-Viduya on LinkedIn. That last name is Viduya. And so that's where people can find you on social media. But then as far as like SupportZebra and the websites and the plugs, as they say, right, the calls to action, what do you feel like telling us about these next steps here? Like how can someone find out if they're a fit for your company and where should they go?
Yes, they could go to SupportZebra.com. That's the website. Every resource is also there. We talk about what do we do, the industries that we serve. Some of our sample clients are also there. The booking session is on the top right of the page. They could just go ahead and click that, and they just fill out a short questionnaire, and it goes into a scheduling link where they could pick a schedule. So if they have a hard time doing that, it's better to find me on LinkedIn. But I could also go ahead and give you my email if they just want to email me directly and just want to talk person to person, email to email, or even just a Zoom phone call. I'm happy to do that too.
And do you feel like mentioning that email right now?
Sure. It's Daniel.Viduya@SupportZebra.com.
Fantastic.
Yes, Daniel, I'm an open book.
Yeah, and it's very logical. You could almost guess what your email would be, and you'd be right on target. So Daniel.Viduya@SupportZebra.com, and then SupportZebra.com is that place to go on that website and browse and just see some of those examples and see what SupportZebra has done for other companies, because sometimes it's less painful to see what other people's problems are and see how other people solved their customer support problem, whatever it may be in that niche. And it might just even be a problem they're not even aware of, that they just need to scale better, or it might be that customer experience could use some fine tuning, whatever it is. SupportZebra.com is the next step. And so as we're winding down our conversation here, Daniel, I have a lot of fun. Maybe it's a little bit of sick pleasure, but I like to put my guests on the spot a little bit and ask them about here we go, we're getting naughty, but we're asking if there is some piece of advice you wish you'd gotten 20 years ago. Does anything come to mind as far as advice you wish you gotten 20 years ago?
Yes, there is. That advice is, it never gets easy with customer service, and with not just with customer service, but with your work. Some look for a stress-free environment and say, oh, I want to work that's stress-free. I want a job that doesn't, piss me off. That's untrue. Life is really difficult, but it's perspective that helps you get through these things. It's the way you respond to things that helps you get through things. I've been in the ups and downs in my career. I've experienced being framed. I've experienced achieving something great, both bad and good. But the way that I responded is how it really, changed the game of cards and in my career and my life. And so now, whatever comes my way, I know that it is simply life, and the way that I would respond to it will help me become a better person. So to those young listeners out there, just hold on to it. Don't be dismayed if something doesn't go your way. It will some things will never go your way, but how you respond will dictate how you want to carve your future.
They say, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. And then what you're saying is that there's what you cannot control and what you can control. And what you can control is how you respond to something. And when you see like a little tiny 1-year-old kid throw a hissy fit, you say, that makes sense because that's just a little kid. But if you see like a world leader or a politician or someone who owns a company or someone who has power losing control of their emotions, you say that's not a right fit. That's not good. So who do you want to be, the little kid? Or do you want to be the person who is a leader, who is in charge of things, be the person that thinks things through? And the very next step to having this more dialed in with your entrepreneurial journey is to go to SupportZebra.com and also add Daniel-Viduya on LinkedIn. That is DANIELVIDUYA, and SupportZebra.com. And thank you very much, Daniel, for showing up and just having some fun and giving us some tips and being personal. I appreciate everything you had to say today.
Thank you for having me, Robert. A pleasure to be here. Thank you so much once again.